Now, have you ever wondered how tour players can create effortless speed to create those crazy yardages that they can hit their clubs like a 200-yard 7-iron? It actually lies in this simple area, and it's all about creating opposing forces in your golf swing. So what does creating opposing forces mean? And this really is what you need to do to be able to create that speed. So as you are completing that backswing, the hands and arms, we'll see vast majority of all tour players, especially the really long ones, start to immediately unwind their lower body and mid-torso. So even someone like here, Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm, classic, of course, short backswing, but he is a really good one to show for this. Is as Jon Rahm, as he's just completing that shorter swing there, his lower body starts to turn, and as we're having those hands and arms still raise up to the top of the swing and that lower body turn, it is creating a ton of speed to go through the shot. So as you can see from there, even for myself, I can't quite get the 7-iron 200 yards. I think my body would break if I tried to do that. But for these real strong, powerful guys, they can create those easy distances. So for you out there, this is really going to help you gain a ton of easy, effortless speed. And that's what we want. So to get this movement, there's a bunch of drills we're going to talk about from there. This is so crucial and everyone can do it. So a great way for you to view this and understand it even more with these opposing forces of that lower body going before the arms have completed their swing. Here's a little analogy on the speed. So if I grab my finger and I put my finger on my right leg. Now let's say this example here is me starting the downswing with the hips in transition, the classic way of doing it. So as I've completed the top of the swing, this is me just putting the amount of force I can with my finger into my leg, just with absolutely just moving that finger. So that's the same as moving that lower body first in transition. Now, if I create an opposing force here, so I am pulling my finger up and away and letting it go, how much more force gets produced into my leg doing that? It hurts, it really does. It stings my leg as I'm doing that. So that finger is hitting my thigh a lot harder when I'm creating this opposing force of pushing and pulling my finger away, and then it snaps and hits my leg. Same thing with getting that lower body to turn before we complete that backswing. It will really get that torque, that tension going through there, and that kinetic chain, the energy will move up and really produce these really good distances, even if you haven't got a crazy long backswing. Like I said, everyone can go and do this to some degree. Might not all be a crazy amount, but for golfers who really struggle to start their sequencing in the downswing, do the classic way, which is still a good way. It's maybe not the best for creating tons of speed, but you will be able to actually play better with it. So starting first, like let's say in that style of the downswing, as soon as that backswing is completed, yes, those players who really struggle to do this move of getting that lower body open up, this is brilliant for them, because so many golfers will start that lower body, try to open up those hips first, but that upper body just goes along with it. So you've got the accuracy gains as well of getting that lower body starting in that mid backswing, creating those opposing forces, but it's going to get the club on path 2, just like we can see here with the club, and the ball going, having that tight little draw with my 7-iron there. So there's a bunch of drills you can do for this, or ways to train this in some really nice, easy ways. And there's a great training aid for this as well. So let's just dive straight into that. So the drills and feels. Let's get into a really good feel first. Now, this is something kind of movement that everyone is familiar with, and that is skipping a stone or throwing a ball at mid or low. So if I grab this ball here and I'm going to go and let's say, imagine this is a stone, I'm trying to skim it across a pond. My body, as I'm going back to try and skim, what's happening straight away? My lower body is going to go and it's going to start to open up before I try to skim that stone. So this is where the golf swing, being a rotational move, where the target is side on, just like skimming a stone, the sequencing is the same. We instinctively do this when we're skimming a stone, get everything to line up, get that lower body going before we've even really taken the arm back. But with golf, of course, it's a static sport. It's a really hard one with, of course, loads of different techniques in there, absolutely. But we could simplify that in a way where relate it to something else like skimming a stone and have that lower body, or throwing that mid-height ball. You're going to be doing that exact same thing. As soon as you go to throw it back, immediately you'll see that lower body. It will go and shift and it will go and start to turn immediately. Absolutely, we want to do that exact same feeling. So imagine you're skimming that stone for the feel here. It's a really, really cool one to get those opposing forces straight away. Good thing about this is you don't need to feel like you're swinging fast. The speed will come from there. That's one of the big things when actually gaining club head speed, where there's going to be a whole nother video on this topic, is we don't really actually want to feel like we're swinging fast. We want to accumulate force. This is a way that accumulates that force really early, just makes it quite foolproof. So really skim that stone, that same feeling, and absolutely, let's get into some drills. So 2 drills here. So absolutely, for both of these drills, there is one thing you have to do for this to work. Light and loose arms. So this applies to that skimming the stone feel as well. You really want to feel like these arms are light and loose. If you are gripping the club too tight, it's going to make you really active with your upper body and arms. It's going to be hard to get that lower body moving and opening up in that kind of mid backswing area for those opposing forces. So at a scale of 1 to 10, we want to be at about 3 or a 4 out of 10 with our grip pressure. Always got to remember, guys, you will always grip it tighter in the downswing subconsciously. So you can imagine if you're a 10 out of 10, you will be gripping it even tighter than that in the downswing. So this gives you that kind of really loose feeling, like everything's catapulting, it's whipping through there, and makes those arms quite passive rather than being overly reactive to everything. So absolutely, that's a necessity. You have to do that to be able to do this. So first drill here is a really, really cool one. Now, this one just gets that body again moving a little bit more athletically. So what we do, we set up to the golf ball, and then we bring the club just outside the ball, and then we have the club just outside the ball, so down the target line, and then swing back and through, and it really creates that sequencing we want. So we're starting the club on the other side of the ball, just a little bit down the target, doesn't have to be too far, a foot or so, and then back and through. Again, doesn't have to be the longest swing in the world. I generally wouldn't recommend people to start off doing this with the longest swing in the world either. So nice half swing, so just outside, then back and through. Really helps that real opposing forces, that lower body to start earlier, just adding that little bit of distance to there at setup with that club just on down the target line, down the ball line, really just makes it that feel just that little bit more athletic. Feels quite different to a golf swing, to be perfectly honest, and it's ultimately not. It just, your body will start to react a little bit differently. So here we go, and then back and through. Great thing I like about this as well is because when you're putting that club outside the ball, the club's actually, or down the ball line, the club is actually elevated off the ground. So if the club's elevated off the ground at the starting point, your swing height is higher. So you have to do something to get the swing height lower. So it encourages players to also get in their posture and start to stay down in the golf ball, which is great. So it's one that really helps multiple areas. So you can start it here, or you could give it a little push. So elevate that club, little push, and then go from there. Much harder to do that one, as you can hear from the strike, but it teaches the body to be able to do this movement. It's that much more athletic feel. That's why you can quite often see long drive professionals have a little trigger as they start off with. That's where you'll see them have almost like a little pushing off, like it's Excalibur, you know, trying to put it out the stone. So it's that same type of move almost that the body will have a little trigger that some of those long drive pros will have. You'll see some long drive pros even get that lower body kind of slightly opening early as like a little push off, and that encourages that lower body to continually stay in motion and have those opposing forces, which could be another good one, just a little kind of hip rotation just before I take it back. And again, that just gets everything flowing through there, gets everything moving nicely to create that easy, effortless speed. Okay, so here's a training aid that really helps get this movement into your golf swing. I've been using this tons with my own golf swing. I've talked about it quite a bit for different reasons, and that is the Ripstick. So it's an overspeed training device. It's got these 3 little holes at the bottom of the head here where you've got different weights in there. So this is designed to be able to increase your club head speed. So just like other overspeed training devices, there are plans when you get this, like a little routine to go through to bump that club head speed up, and it really does help. But why I like this the best is because it helps with perfect sequencing because of these 3 holes at the end of the head. You hear a loud whoosh. So when we're using something like this, instinctively your body starts to react in a way to make this point around impact or just after the fastest bit, because that's where this is going to be the loudest. You want that kind of whooshing feel on sound, just like you heard there, to be the loudest going through that ball. And you absolutely, if we slow this one down, have a look, and you're going to see that lower body instinctively start to unwind early in that mid backswing. So mid backswing, 3/4 of the way up. It's wherever your body can do it. For me, it happens a little bit more 3/4 of the way up, but just naturally gets in there doing it. Absolutely love this because it does it without you even thinking about it. And that's why I talk about a lot of drills here on my channel where it uses your subconscious a little bit more than your conscious brain. So it just gets into your swing faster. It's an accelerated style of learning. So that's where for this, you get a very win-win scenario. It gets the technique into your golf swing. You can see from the slow-mo again, look at all the other stuff that you start to see. Shaft lean at a great point, of course. Look at the lag you can see. I mean, it's just loads of really good power things. And of course, you get what we're talking about in this video, which is the fastest way to get that effortless and tons of it, speed into your golf swing, like we see the top tour players. Now, if you can do this and then grab your club and hit some balls after doing that, so good overspeed training with something that gets you doing the technique we want. That's the thing with some overspeed training, guys. It can lead to a way where you're not swinging in a desirable way for good accuracy as well. That's where the ripstick is different. So, okay, if I go and hit some balls replicating the same feel, absolutely brilliant to be able to continue to get that body moving how we want to brilliantly. So guys, can't guarantee you're gonna hit the ball 200 yards with 7-iron. As you can see from this video, I'm not hitting the ball 200 yards with 7-iron, but this is what causes the tour players to do that. So it is what we see so many of the top players do now in the men's game and in the women's game, especially the long hitters in the women's game do this a ton. They've got to create as much speed as they possibly can with as little effort as possible to keep that accuracy in there. And this is going to be great for all of you to have a good practice at. Age isn't a thing for this. You can do this at any age. Obviously different amounts. You're not all going to get crazy separation if you're a senior golfer out there. But if you're not the most athletic, you'll be able to do this as well. Like I say all the time in my videos, guys, I have cerebral palsy. I am a disabled golfer. It is all up my left side. This is the stiffest part. And that is where, of course, the target is. The most important side to the golfer is their lead side. And that's where I have my disability in. So that's why, again, these things that you can do, you can do them. Golfers are treated with bubble wrap. You can do a lot more than you think you can. Getting these even a little bit into your swing goes a long way. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.